I'm an economist, and I deal a lot increasingly with international relations specialists and foreign policy specialists. And they view the world as winners and losers. So their big question is, who's number one? Is it the United States or is it China? I find this question absurd, frankly.
喺睇片之前，大家記得分享、讚好同訂閱卓見名家，最緊要撳埋呢個鐘仔，咁你就唔會錯過我哋嘅最新影片。
一齊睇下 Jeffrey Sachs 教授嘅訪談。你曾經話香港係一個獨特嘅地方，請問獨特之處喺邊度呢？你認為香港未來嘅經濟前景如何？
You know, I think Hong Kong is a remarkable place in economic terms as one of the 3 or 4 main financial and trading centers of the world. And that is partly the result of history, a lot the result of geography, and a lot the result of the very clever leadership of Hong Kong for many decades by many entrepreneurs and government leaders. So this is a unique place. And as a unique place, I think it continues to have a unique role in all the issues that we talked about. China and Hong Kong specifically will play a huge role in the global transformation to sustainable development. So the next decades will require tremendous changes of infrastructure and technology, and that will require a tremendous amount of expertise, business management, and finance. And that's where Hong Kong comes in, because Hong Kong has all these components to really help the world to achieve the transformation that it needs. And so that's good business and a very good contribution to the world as well. We are entering an era of new sustainable finance, where finance is going to play the crucial role in enabling all of the transformations of the energy system, of global agriculture, of trade patterns, of electric vehicles, of smart cities. And Hong Kong's very well positioned in that. And I think for the mainland, Hong Kong remains essential for the mainland's prosperity and development, and the mainland economy is absolutely key for Hong Kong's economic future as well, because China is the world's efficient, low-cost producer of green infrastructure. And so China really is going to be the main exporter of electric vehicles, of smart grid systems, of 5G and 6G, and of many other things. And Hong Kong is going to be right there to help finance it, to make the deals, to be able to help design the solutions, the business solutions, to make the supply chains and so forth. So this is a very good position for Hong Kong in the future.
你提到香港喺唔同方面都處於有利位置，但有唔少西方學者都對於過去幾年香港嘅變化感到遺憾，你又點睇呢？
First, many Western observers say lots of things about China for political reasons. So these are popular things to say. Americans are in the habit right now of attacking China almost every day, every word. So I wouldn't take straightforwardly any statements that are made, because a lot of this is just regular bad-mouthing. In fact, every time an American official opens their mouth, just about it's it's something negative. There have been a couple of exceptions. I was happy to see that Secretary Blinken wished China good on National Day. Okay, that was nice that he did that. I wish that he would do that on other days as well. I believe, and I am optimistic, that leaders in Beijing understand very well the importance of Hong Kong's distinctiveness and its unique role in the world, and how hard won that is, and how it reflects a long pattern of building expertise in Hong Kong, building trust in the institutions in Hong Kong, and thereby creating one of the great financial and trade centers of the world. And there's no doubt in my mind that Hong Kong is extremely important for China's success for the mainland. So I think it would be absolutely misguided, absolutely mistaken, if any steps were taken that would undermine that. My own experience is that mainland leaders don't make such mistakes, and they're very good at economic management and at understanding realities. And that's why I'm confident that Hong Kong's distinctive role not only will be respected, but actually will grow for the reasons that I've said. We need, in 25 years, a major structural change in the world economy. That is hard to produce without a tremendous amount of financial expertise and a tremendous amount of global supply chain cooperation. And Hong Kong is very well placed for that. In fact, you could not reinvent it in time, so you better use it well.
May I play the devil's advocate?
Sure.
作為一個喺美國成長嘅美國人，你對而家困擾緊美國嘅問題，例如政治、經濟同埋精神問題都非常敏感。但與此同時，你似乎係用更寬容嘅態度嚟看待中國同東方嘅問題。但唔可否認嘅係，中國亦有自己嘅野心。你是否對中國持有唔同於對美國嘅批評態度呢？
My basic belief is that our global reality pushes us very hard towards cooperation, because for 8 billion people to live well on this planet, we need a global system that functions properly. If we end up in a massive division of the world, a massive crisis, much less war, the consequences would be devastating for everybody. So I start from the proposition that the gains of cooperation are overwhelmingly large. And I know, as an economist that has worked on these issues for more than 40 years, how deeply intertwined we are. I also know that we have a nation-state system in a world where we need global governance. This is a problem because it means that our international institutions, and the one that I work at and for, the United Nations, is too weak. We don't have the kind of global governance to enforce a treaty or to ensure that countries don't free ride or to stop wars and so on. So I'm very much aware of that. I'm also very much aware that the whole idea of creating an international legal framework is actually quite new. You know, the first international organization attempt was only 1921, the League of Nations. So it's only 1 century in all the millennia of human history that we've even tried to have global cooperation. The League of Nations failed completely, collapsed, and then came the UN in 1945, which was the best idea of the best American president, Franklin Roosevelt, really our greatest president. Now, the UN is very, very fragile in a way. We need it, but instead of having that strength for a global system, it depends on the cooperation of the individual countries, especially the United States, Russia, China, and others. And since the cooperation level is quite low right now, this can absolutely paralyze the function of the United Nations as well. So I'm not I'm not unaware of how difficult this is. And I'm not trying to give any country a free pass. I do feel my responsibility to a large extent is to look at my own country first and criticize my own country first. And I hope that inspires others to look at their countries and to try to improve their country's performance. It's too easy to point the finger at some other country. So I don't like to do that anyway. I would rather try to inspire confidence by everybody saying, you know, we all can do better than we're doing. But my message professionally is we had better solve these problems cooperatively. We had better strengthen global cooperation, because if we don't, there are no winners and losers. Everybody loses if we don't get this right. And I learned, to my surprise in a way, I'm an economist, and I deal a lot increasingly with the international relations specialists and foreign policy specialists. And they view the world as winners and losers. So their big question is, who's number one? Is it the United States or is it China? I find this question absurd, frankly, because there is no number one. There is only cooperation and coexistence, not the question of who's number one and who's number two. So I just view the questions rather differently. It's an old argument that I'm making because for more than a century, many people have said, no, there are no winners in war. And then wars come anyway. And then the wars prove there are no winners in the wars, only the losers. So it's not that the people were wrong, it's that in a world of nation states, we are still stuck in interstate conflict. But we have to move beyond the conflict. And my favorite realist expert is a well-known professor in the United States named John Mearsheimer. And he became very well-known in recent years because he rather predicted the Ukraine war. And his book that made him very famous is called The Tragedy of Great Power Politics, because he says it's almost inevitable that great power politics ends in tragedy, because great powers are always fighting for dominance. And my answer to him is, John, we can't accept tragedy. We have to write the solution to the tragedy, not accept the tragedy. So this is not automatic or easy. And I'm not predicting success. I'm just saying we had better spend our effort to make success.
下期精彩內容，千祈唔好錯過啦。
And for me, it's very basic that given this capacity, there should be no economic suffering in the world of basic conditions, basic deprivation, extreme poverty, because while that was inevitable 200 years ago, it should be out of the question today. So since I'm an economist and I see the power of our tools, it's rather frustrating to me to know that there are still 1 billion people living in extreme poverty, many hundreds of millions of children who don't have enough to eat, or a place in a schoolroom, or other basic amenities for a healthy and productive life.
鍾意名家分析，記得俾 like 同埋分享，支持同訂閱灼見名家，最緊要撳埋呢個鐘仔，咁就唔會錯過我哋嘅新片。